years, and we're still at a worse point than when we started. So we have some people gathered here today to tell their stories and to talk about how it's affected them in the past and going forward. So first of all, I'd like to thank the press for being here today. Thank you for coming out and spending some time with us. And I'd like to thank the people and the citizens and the nonprofits that came that you're going to hear right after us. I also have two members from City Council here, Deputy Mayor Tim Harris and Councilmember Dustin Green. I'd like to thank them for being here and support also. At this time, I'm going to turn this over to some of the citizens to talk, and the first person that is going to talk is going to be Gregory Jamal. So thank you.
How are you? My name is Greg Jamiel, and I'm the founder of Snow Valley Pride based here in Carnation. My last name is J-A-M as in Michael, I-E-L. First name Greg, G-R-E-G. I'm a media producer here in the Valley, and I've lived in Carnation for over 6 years and live right next to one of the Tolt Dam sirens. I created a video to document the September 30th community forum held here in Carnation, where residents and stakeholders were encouraged to voice their concerns about Seattle's dam operations. Seattle's mayor's representative, Andrew Lee, is on video saying that the alert system inaugurated on October 18th will be far superior to the prior system. Unfortunately, the new siren is inaudible in many parts of the city. Even for me, living right across the street from it, it's far more difficult to hear and understand compared to the previous one. The City of Seattle has overcommitted and underperformed, which is unacceptable when the safety of our Carnation community is at stake. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Laura Smith, L-A-U-R-A-S-M-I-T-H, and I am the Executive Director for Empower Youth Network. We provide community and school-based programs for youth and families here in this region. Since October 18th, we have been unable to adequately hear the siren and its message during the weekly tests. If we pause all conversation in our downtown building, we can barely make it out. And if there's any noise at all, then we completely miss it. This deeply affects our confidence in our ability to safely evacuate staff and the youth we serve during an emergency. Communication from the City of Seattle to Carnation residents, business owners, and community groups has not been proactive or consistent. The City of Seattle told the City of Carnation that Siren 8 would be relocated to the City Public Works Yard by fall of 2023. They are now estimating 2024. We need to be able to feel safe. We need to be able to have confidence in the warning system and the evacuation plan. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sabrina Warren. I'm the transportation supervisor with the Riverview School District. We have 5 schools in the City of Carnation that would have to be fully evacuated in case of a dam failure. The school district is unfairly burdened with having to move 1,400 students and staff up to higher ground if the dam did break. In addition to those students and staff, we have medically fragile, special needs, and preschool students that also need to get off the valley floor. Thankfully, the false alarm took place in the summer months here, but if another false alarm happens while school is in session, this would pose a major safety concern to the school district. Buses driving out of Carnation, mixed with frantic, scared adults, and children that are scared as well, could be catastrophic, especially if the driver could not get off the valley floor in time. Those drivers would have to be ultimately responsible for the lives of those children. Thank you.
My name is Kira Avery, K-I-R-A-A-V-E-R-Y. I'm the Executive Director at the Snow Valley Senior Center here in Carnation. And when the Tolt Dam alarm went off unexpectedly 3 years ago, the Senior Center was getting ready to serve about 50 lunches for pickup and delivery throughout the Snoqualmie Valley. And on any given weekday, the Senior Center may have between 30 and 80 people enjoying lunch, exercising, or participating in a support group. And if you're here with us on Friday, it's going to be over 100 for our Thanksgiving lunch. And the false alarms that have happened have caused confusion and anxiety, especially for a group of people who are less likely to see posts on social media about false alarms. We worry that the longer this goes on, the alarm will be taken less seriously if an emergency is actually occurring. The false alarm that occurred in 2020 was a wake-up call. to get us better prepared, but we also need to be able to trust an alarm system that is responsible for alerting an entire city about an impending disaster, and that's not something we can do right now. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Hargrove, Jennifer Hargrove. I am an emergency management consultant with the City of Carnation. And as I've said before, but in different words, the best mitigation is prevention. In addition to 2,200 residents within the city limits and 1,400 students, there are thousands more that will be affected by the inundation zone in unincorporated King County. The siren system is primarily an outdoor warning system, and it may not be audible indoors depending on many conditions. This is unacceptable, as it displaces the responsibility onto residents and visitors by assuming that they will, and even know to, closely monitor their phones and other devices at all times, in lieu of hearing the siren. As stated before, absence of risk is the best mitigation. We would not be having these discussions if not for the dam. So I ask, please place people over profits. And what I mean by that is that Geographic Information System, GIS data, of potential landslide risk is publicly available. So when the Tolt Dam is proven to be too great of a risk, please make the ethical choice. There are so many more conversations that do need to take place, but in closing, the City of Carnation demands that the Seattle Public Utilities explain to the newly elected Seattle City Council their inability to deliver an alarm system that was promised to Carnation residents in 2020 and is now 2 years behind schedule. We then demand that the Seattle City Council explain to the ratepayers why they're unable to keep 2,200 plus people safe. This is about accountability. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jen. One of the last points that I'd like to emphasize that Jen just brought up was that when the new system was put in place, it was never meant to be only an outdoor system. Our old system, it was be able to hear indoors just fine. Right behind us, you'll see there's an outdoor, the old system and the new system. You guys will be able to hear this at noon today. Unfortunately, not all of our residents can hear the new system at all anymore. So we're calling on the City of Seattle, the Mayor's Office, and the newly elected City Council to make this our priority next year, to get this fixed and to bring what needs to be happen. The thing that concerns us is that the City of Carnation gets zero benefit from this dam. We have our own water supply, but the City of Seattle uses, this is a third of their water supply, and they sell this water supply to other municipalities all the way through the city of Seattle. So it's time for the City of Seattle to step up and take responsibility for their obligation of what they have. At this point in time, I'm going to bring in Ashlyn Farnsworth for any Q&As.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. And just so you're all aware, the siren is right there down the trailhead, so you will be able to hear it. So, yeah.
It'll be loud here.
And it will be loud here. Yep, it'll be loud and clear. So.
Actually, we were talking about some of the earlier, maybe secrets of American cancer or address, but beyond the city of Seattle, what other cities are benefiting from the byproducts of the Tolt River Dam, and do you think they could get into this conversation as well?
Yes, so there are other municipalities that are reaping benefit from the dam, but not the City of Carnation. So I believe it's City of Duval, Woodinville, and then Bellevue are three of the main ones.
And Kirkwood.
Cascade Water Alliance.
Yep.
Has there been any conversation with those local governments to try and see if they can help move the needle forward?
We have reached out to the other local governments.
If they're listening right now to this broadcast, and it goes beyond just the city of Seattle, what do you want them to hear? I don't know if that's a question for the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, one of the organizations that we have in the valley is called SVGA, Snoqualmie Valley Government Association, that's made up of North Bend, Snoqualmie, the Snoqualmie Tribe, Carnation, and Duval. They've all heard us. They're all behind us with this, of what needs to happen. And I know the other mayors in the valley and outside of the valley feel what we're going through with the city, and I'm sure they'll be behind us and support us with this. So.
But you haven't gotten confirmed that they back
The Valley mayors, yes. The outside mayors, not yet. Thank you.
Conversations you're having with federal regulators right now to get some kind of resolution to this, as well as what measures city leaders are considering in terms of charging Seattle for the delays, fining them, mitigation fees. Could you speak on that?
Yes, so we are having conversations with FERC, which is the Federal Energy Relicensing Commission, regulatory. Yeah, that's what it is. So they're in charge of FERC is in charge of relicensing the dams. So we are having conversations with them. A representative is coming out next month or later this month. As far as fines, we are putting together an invoice for what we feel is appropriate. We don't have a number nailed down yet, but there will be an invoice presented to the City of Seattle.
And what would the invoice cover per se?
It will cover. Do you have? Yeah, do you want to address it?
I think that the approach that we're taking here is that if there wasn't a dam above the City of Carnation, and if we have to do anything to make our citizens safe, the City of Seattle will be receiving a bill for that. And they'll be receiving a bill on an ongoing yearly basis for going forward with this, because there's a lot of things that we have to do in the city to make sure that our citizens are safe. One thing that we do, and that we have done in the past with zero input from SPU in the City of Seattle, is a dam safety evacuation drill. We started that before the false alarm. And they have not paid minimal or nothing in years past to do that. And that's an event that we take a Saturday. It's the last Saturday in October and in September. And we take our citizens through, and they walk from their homes up to the evacuation site, so they know how to do this. The best entity that has actually done this every year is Riverview School District. Riverview School District has a dam evacuation drill every year. When the first false alarm went off, the only citizens that really knew how to respond to this was the kids. The kids knew where to go and how to go. Our citizens didn't, and so that's why we decided at the time to make this a yearly event, to do that. And we've got minimal or no support from Seattle or the City of Carnation, or the City of Seattle.
You talked about the false alarms and also how the sirens may not be heard in certain buildings as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about this in the past, but what exactly would you like from the City of Seattle?
The City of Seattle needs to have a better system than the system that they just decommissioned. That was the promise made by the City of Seattle and SPU. Right now, we do not have that system in place. It's if it's inadequate and is not working to anywhere near the level that it should be right now.
And for those who may not be familiar with the situation, but can you really help explain, how traumatic this can be or has been for residents who heard the false alarms?
Yeah, I can tell you the first time that it went off, we had seniors that just walked out into their yard and waited for a wall of water to come down. And they thought that they were going to die. We had people that were in wheelchairs that sat in their room and just cried because they thought they were going to pass away. To this day, there's people that will leave the City of Carnation at noon because they don't want to hear those sirens go off. It is continually impacting the citizens in Carnation. It is the psychological impacts that this has had affects everybody in here.
And I know from talking to some of the affected parties that they want to do something drastic. I don't know, protest, something like that. Do you think if the city doesn't take your concern seriously enough, this is going to escalate further?
I think the biggest thing that the city is actually thinking about right now, in addition with the citizens, is protesting the FERC recommissioning of the dam. And if the FERC recommissioning of the dam doesn't happen, Seattle's going to lose a third of their water and over $30 million of revenue a year.
Could you remind our viewers what would be at stake in terms of why you need ample warning? What would this community face if that dam did have a catastrophic breach? What would it look like?
Right now, we would be under 15 feet of water. So, that's it. Our tallest building in Carnation would be under 10 feet of water. The City of Carnation would not be here. The river system would not be here. The impacts it would have on lives and of the future of this valley would be devastating.
So how much time, I guess, does the city have to make a move or do something, Seattle Public Utilities, that you feel like would be a reasonable amount of time to take action and correct this error?
Tomorrow. We've waited 3 years. It's time for them to step up. I don't know how more clear I can be on this. It's 3 years of promises and broken promises and broken promises. And the latest broken promise is that we are going to have a better system than we had that was a 40-year-old system. And right now, we have a brand new state-of-the-art system that's a complete failure. It's time to fix it, and it's time to fix it tomorrow.
Can you clarify
I can't even remember. We went down and we actually, everybody on council went down and we gave our 3 minutes of public testimony because we asked the city of Seattle to come in and talk to them individually when they said they didn't have time. So as a council, we went down and all gave our 3 minutes of testimony in public comment so that we could get our message across. So I'm hoping that the newly elected officials in the city of Seattle step up and make this a priority.
And would you mind just bringing us up to speed on the exact timeline of how many false alarms, just so we can all have it down for the record?
The total number of false alarms is 6 that we've had.
Over the span of how?
3 years.
Since 2020?
Yeah, since 2020. Anything additional?
Out of the two systems over there, I'm assuming the wider one is the newest one, or is
Yes, that's the newest one. It looks nice, but it doesn't work.
Fewer birds.
You're getting a little too used to the media.
So at noon, you will hear the system go off. It'll be loud here, but it won't be loud enough for all of our citizens to hear it today. And that's the key point.
If I could add a little bit more of information on your question, Lauren, about the invoice. And so, the City of Carnation believes in strong partnerships. If we didn't, that invoice would begin in 1964, because we would have to collect on every single year since the dam was built. But we like to work in a partnership. We know that that's not reasonable. So our invoice begins in 2020, and there's one invoice for every year. That invoice covers not only the faulty functioning of the alarm system, and please understand that it comes in different ways. It's not just the alarm going off. Sometimes the alarm doesn't ring, which is also a problem. So we are charging for those events along with the maintenance, for example, to the evacuation trail. The evacuation trail needs to be maintained so that we can get to Evacuation Hill. If it were not for the dam, would we need the trails and the hill? The answer is no. But because of the dam, we need trails and a hill. And that needs to be maintained. It doesn't maintain by itself, and it's not free. We are also charging for services that are connected to the mental state of this community. There are resources that should have been offered to this community that were not offered. We are collecting on that as well. So the invoice is for a number of years and for multiple reasons, and then we will sit down and negotiate. Do we expect them to just write us a check? Probably not, but it begins to be a conversation. Key to this is that the City of Carnation and the City of Seattle have not had an agreement for that dam ever. We looked, they couldn't find, we couldn't find. So we are now in 2023, 2024, negotiating an interlocal agreement for an infrastructure that was built in 1964. That was built actually before I was even born. It's about time. So we're beginning to put some of those pieces in place to create a true partnership. This is not us asking for donations. This is us demanding what's right for the City of Carnation.
what's your name, miss?
Oh, my name is Ana Cortez, and I'm the city manager.
All right.
We wait for the big event.
Yeah. It should go off in about 4 minutes.
One of the questions that you guys asked was about who all buys water from the city of
Yes,
Seattle. So
yeah.
one of the organizations is the Cascade Water Alliance. And if you look at their service area, it's Kirkland, Redmond, Bellevue, Sammamish Water Plateau. So these are the water districts.
would get my water from you guys.
Well, from the reservoir above us.
Yes,
Yes.
not from you guys.
Yes.
You don't. Yes. Moral of the story: you don't have the control over it. So.
I can text this to you if you want.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Do you have any cell numbers for me? Maybe not.
I don't. First
I
of all,
got a
let me
new
figure out
phone
how
too.
you-
Switch stations. So.
Okay.
206 888 1487.